All right, ladies and gents, today we have with us here the Ferrum Forge Pro Series 2 Archbishop, and it is a nice knife. Let's see if we can first off get it centered in the frame there, and then we'll do a bit of a size comparison so we know what we're up against. So here we have our rat number 1. Here we have our Benchmade bug out. So it's kind of sitting, kind of in between those two. We've got a PM2, similar in size to that. Maybe the PM2 slightly larger. And what else do we have to compare it to here? Here we have ZT 0562 CF. So as you can see, it's kind of the same range there as the 0562 in terms of blade length. It looks like it's got a wee little bit more blade. But yeah, that's about what we're looking at as far as size goes. The particulars on it, as you can see here, we got the M390 blade. So you got M390 for blade steel, chemically equivalent to 20 CV, as I have previously stated in other reviews. The blade length is 3.5, and the blade, the cutting edge, due to this finger choil here, is sitting right in at about 3. The blade thickness, it's a thick stock. You're looking at about 0.16 as far as blade width goes, and it comes in tipping the scales at 4.54 ounces. Okay, so that's kind of the particulars there. So let's get into it. So I gotta say, this is a nice knife. I really like the lines. I like the overall profile of the knife. I like the finger choil here. It allows you to choke up on the knife extremely well. There are other finger choils, forward finger choils like this in some of my other knives that are there, and yeah, you can use them, and yes, they are helpful, but this one seems to, they paid attention to it. It really, like, that is comfortable. That is really, really comfortable. The ergos on this thing are absolutely fantastic. The jimping on the back here, my thumb is a little calloused, so the jimping works well. It really grabs onto your thumb. You're not slipping off this. This is pretty. That's locked in there. It's a good grip. You could strap a pair of these to the bottom of your shoes and walk up a wall. They're quite grippy. You're not going to lose that in the hand. I really like the design of the cutout here. It's almost fuller-ish in its shape. But it is not. It actually can be used as my finger got in the way there. Let's try this again, shall we? You can even do a Spidey flick on it. Try not to put any weight on the lock bar. It will make things a little bit more difficult for deployment. And drop shut. It is a drop shutty knife. After I took it apart and put the lubrication in that I like to use, my KPL or 10 weight nanolube, that also works quite well. The action on it is just absolutely stellar. It's a very nice action knife. The handle is made of titanium, and as you can see, it's very cleverly milled here to reduce the weight. The balance on it is a little back. The balance on it is sitting a little further back than I might like, which is kind of, so I mean your balance is kind of right about here. I'd like it to be a little bit more forward. They almost milled too much out of the handle. But then again, this is a rather thick blade stock. It's a bit on the thicker side, so there is a fair amount of weight in the blade, which helps with the action, which, as I said, is absolutely stellar. The pocket clip is a nice pocket clip. It's not a deep carry. I do prefer deep carry, but it is definitely not a deal breaker. So I mean, you got about that much of the knife sticking up when you're walking around. Another nice feature is the back spacer here with the detail that's been given to that. That's kind of nice. So if you're in a reverse grip, you've got a little bit of purchase for your thumb there. It's nice and rounded here, chamfered in all the right places, so your hands aren't coming into contact with any rough edges, or sorry, with any rough or sharp edges. You got some jimping here on the flipper tab, makes life a little bit easier to flip. Little bit of a hot spot for the clip when you're holding it in the regular grip, but as soon as you choke up on it, it almost comes to rest right there in the hand, the pocket clip, and you can barely even tell the pocket clip's there, and the pocket clip's edges have been chamfered. As far as the clip goes, it is reversible for left and right hand carry. It does not give you the option for a tip down carry, yeah, I don't see why they would. I mean, I don't think I carry any of my knives tip down. So yeah, so that's nice. Lockup on this knife is early. See if we can get a good picture of that. Lockup is a little early there. We're looking at about 20%, 25% lockup. Now, don't let that scare you. It is secure. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. That's not going anywhere at all. It's got the nice over travel stop there, and running on ceramic ball bearings. Very, very nicely done. Love the titanium. It's got one thing that I do like. It's got the lock bar relief cut out of the inside rather than the outside, which means when you're slipping it in and out of your pocket, it's not your pocket fabric isn't getting caught up in that. I always like it when the manufacturers do the lock bar relief on the inside rather than the outside. Just for that reason. It just makes it that much easier to get in and out of the pocket. And to be quite honest with you, the pocket clip and how easily a knife comes in and out of the pocket has been a deal breaker for me on a few occasions. There have been one or two knives that I looked at that I was thinking about buying, and after trying to get them in and out of my pocket once or twice, I just kind of, this is gonna be a pain to deal with, pulling in and out of the pocket, so maybe I'll get something else. It has been the deciding factor on more than one occasion, because if you're carrying a pocket knife, which this is, half of the word is pocket, which means it better be able to get in and out of the pocket relatively easily. Otherwise, it's not a pocket knife, it's a kind of pocket knife. better take the pocket clip off and put it in a sheath or attach it to your belt or something. It's a pocket knife that's not a pocket knife. And the other half is knife, which means it better be able to cut stuff. This can cut stuff. It came sharp. It came with a really nice factory edge. Now I did strop it to make it a little bit sharper, but as you can see here, this thing has absolutely no problem at all. Of course it would now, cutting stuff. It's the angle. So as you can see, nice factory edge on that, nice and sharp. The only criticism I have as far as the blade goes, especially down here where you can see the grind line here, they went around the cutout. So you go from a relatively sharp edge here, narrow behind the edge, to full stock thickness, 0.16, in, I'd say, about an inch. So it tends to want to wedge things apart. Like it's a clean cut to get in, but then as you're pushing down through the apple, or whatever it is you're cutting, it tends to want to wedge things apart. Now that can work to your advantage in some cases, and not so much in others. I found that for food prep, you know, it wasn't quite as good as some of my other blades with thinner stock on them. However, it did the job nicely. This thing glides through cardboard, does well carving wood. And yeah, like I said, it's got a very, very sharp blade straight out of the box. And other than that, you know, I can't really find too much wrong with it. There's not many gripes I have. This is another knife where the insignia, the logo of the maker, which is Ferrum Forge, is engraved right into the handle of the blade. On the non-presentation side, and so it's not too obtrusive, it's not, you know, visually, it's not visually just, you can't look at anything else. It doesn't take away from the knife. It's quite nice. Let's see if we can get a close-up of it here. Yeah, right there. So there's your Ferrum Forge insignia, again engraved right into the blade, and I do like that, especially since it's on the non-presentation side. I mean, that's not to say that the clip side of this knife isn't an attractive feature of the knife, which it most certainly is. You know, it's always nice to see some attention paid to the non-presentation side of the knife. A lot of times that goes unaddressed by some knife makers who shall remain nameless. But yeah, it's nice lines. The lines carry through. The fit and finish on this is great. It's got a fairly nice sharp tip. See if I can. There we go. Come on. There we go. So relatively pointed tip. It's got a nice little distal taper there. Starts out about an inch and a half away from the tip of the blade. Starts that distal taper. So by the time you get to the tip, it is a nice sharp tip, which is nice for poking into things, cutting objects and such. Other than that, we have ourselves a nice knife. I gotta say, the Ferrum Forge Archbishop 2.0 Pro Series, It is a very nice knife, and I do recommend it. It's not overly expensive for what you're getting. It comes in at about $275 US. Again, I'm Canadian here north of the border, so you'll hear me refer back and forth to Canadian dollars and American dollars, and how difficult it can be sometimes to get some of these nice knives into my collection. Got to do some hoop jumping and sometimes pay a little extra money just to get my hands on these things. But like I said, Ferrum Forge Archbishop, thumbs up. Loving the knife. It's in my pocket a lot, carry it a lot. It's good. It's got use for a bunch of different things, and it is held up nicely to all the tasks that it has been put to. All right, so there will be a disassembly video for this knife forthcoming as soon as I get the opportunity, and that'll be posted as well. So until then, hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.